Travis. Okay, guys. So, just wait. Okay. So today I will cover some portions that is ad hoc reporting and analysis, real-time analytics. Okay. So first, just look at these points. That is ad hoc reporting and analysis tools help people across your enterprise efficiently access and work with data on a self-service basis. Okay. So and ad hoc analysis allows a user to extract insights from a smaller extraction of data on an as needed basis to answer a single business query. Okay. So it is you just learn something in detail. You need to learn something in detail in regarding ad hoc reporting and analysis. Suppose your company's need for accurate, timely and accessible data increases. Okay. So your IT staff for reports and BI is also required. These ad hoc reporting and analysis tools help people to access this data. Okay, on a self-service basis. So ad hoc reporting is a report created for a one-time use. Okay, for a one-time use, this ad hoc reporting is created. Okay. And because only a single business query needs to be made. Okay. When the single business query is resolved, then the purpose is solved. Okay. That is why this ad hoc report is created for a one-time use. Okay. A BI tool can make it possible for anyone in an organization to answer a specific business question. Okay. And that can be presented in a visual format. Okay. Without burdening the IT stuff, you just use the BI tool to get the visual representation. Okay. And this ad hoc reporting differs from the structured reporting. Okay. In many ways. Okay. Structured reports use a large volume of data. And that are produced using a formalized reporting template, but ad hoc reports are generated as needed. Okay. And in a visual format relevant to the audience. Okay. So these structured reports are produced by people who have a high degree of technical experience working with business intelligence tools to mine or and explore the data and aggregate large amounts of data. But ad hoc reporting relies on much smaller amounts of data. Okay, this makes it easier for people in an enterprise to report on a specific data point that answers a specific business question. Okay. So this is ad hoc reporting. So what is ad hoc analysis? Ad hoc analysis allows a user to extract the insights from that smaller extraction of data. Okay, on an as needed basis. Okay, to answer a single business query. Okay, so ad hoc analysis is a quick solution to formulate insights as needed. Okay, eliminating the needs to wait for a scheduled report. Okay, so so what are the benefits of ad hoc analysis and reporting? Okay, so yeah, here just look one thing. There are some points given, that is increased agility for users, flexibility in reporting, okay, reducing and analyst bottlenecks, customizability, ease of use, reduces the IT workload, saves time and financial resources. I am explaining each point in detail. Okay. Look, ad hoc analysis and reporting just advance business decision making and reduce IT workload. Okay. So because you can use BI tools. Okay. People across your enterprise can gather and examine data to answer specific business questions as needed. Okay. So ad hoc analysis is performed by business users on an as needed basis to address data analysis, okay, and the needs not made by the business static regular reporting. Okay, it is that is which are not made by static regular reporting can be made by the business users on an as needed basis through ad hoc analysis. Okay, so the benefits of this self-service BI conducted by ad hoc analysis tools are these. Okay, increased agility for users, flexibility in reporting. Okay, so just I want to explain these things in detail. Suppose if what does increased agility for users mean? Ad hoc analysis allows people to answer questions on demand, speeding up business decision making throughout your organization. Okay, people can quickly analyze specific data and present insights in a visual format to answer specific business questions. Okay, so that is how it is an increased agility for users. Okay, and flexibility in reporting, that is ad hoc reporting tools make it simple and easy for a user to navigate and choose relevant data to work with. Okay, then users can quickly visualize their insights to produce a report for analysis and presentation. Because small chunk of data is required now, and no structured template is required in this ad hoc reporting. So it is very flexible. Reducing analyst bottlenecks is like IT teams and analysts are freed from the burden of one-off requests for data and reports, and people are empowered to access corporate data and report their findings to answer a specific business question. Okay, because all the people in an enterprise can quickly access and work with all data, with all such service on a single service basis data. Okay, and this customizability is when you when you deal with ad hoc analysis tools, then they provide enterprise data analytics across the organization. Okay, supporting a variety of niche business needs and feature customizable reports to meet the specific needs of users. Okay, so many BI solutions also provide templates for easier adoption, limiting data intake to only what is needed. For more advanced users, SQL queries enable a more granular experience. Okay, if you use SQL queries, then you can more go in detail, more deeply. You can in a deeper way you can analyze the data, selecting specific business data for reports. Okay, so ease of use, obviously most data exploration BI tools are user friendly and are built with non-technical user in mind. That is, a non-technical user can easily interact with such BI tools. Okay, to generate reports. So the interfaces and dashboards are intuitive and simplify data analysis through a single use report. Okay, and how can it reduce the IT workload? Ad hoc reporting tools for self-service business intelligence allow users to create timely and tailored reports. This speeds up decision making and response times to business queries. Okay. So this is how when you use tools, reporting tools, then obviously it will speed up the decision making and response time to these business queries, and thus it reduces the IT workload. Okay. And how can it save time and financial resource? Obviously, the intuitive functionality of ad hoc analysis tools just eliminate the need for developers to help with queries and create reports. You don't need developers, IT stuff, IT personnel here. You just use BI tools. Okay, any non-technical person can deal with that. Okay, if you make your BI tool so much interactive and so much so much user friendly, so that they don't need to learn so that much coding or building models and reports. Okay, for those things you require developers. Okay, but if you just make such things like MS Word, like Excel, so people, any non-technical person can easily learn how to generate report, how to work with data, and thus you don't need that much highly skilled person, and that is how you can save the businessman money and allows IT teams to focus on other kind of task. Okay. So this is static report versus ad hoc analysis. So just go through. I hope you all understand what is the difference between static and ad hoc analysis. So look at the examples of ad hoc analysis and reporting. Sales, banking and finance, healthcare, government and education. Suppose in case of sales, ad hoc analysis can help sales organizations on trends and how they impact sales. Okay, for example, ad hoc analysis reports can show how an event, how a festival influences sales at a particular point of time or over a specific time frame. Okay, users can dig into any aspect of the sales process. Okay, that is slowing the sales cycle. Okay, or you can say a company can analyze the effectiveness of its marketing strategy and determine if a new course of action is needed. Okay. And in banking and finance, because this industry generates a large amount of transactions and stores huge amount of data, but financial service businesses including banks traditionally relied on historical data and trends to focus future performance. So today they are tapping into ad hoc data analytics to track and model additional data sources. Okay, they also want to work on the single time use data. Okay, which means single purpose meeting data. Okay, so they don't need a large amount of data for that. So this helps them better measure and quantify risk. Okay, and improve the cash flow and boost the corporate value. Okay. In case of healthcare, you can say ad hoc analysis promotes greater transparency in healthcare industry. Okay, and in healthcare facilities used ad hoc analysis to evaluate blood test results or track how many patients were admitted to your hospital in a given day or week, month or year. This insight can lead to greater operational efficiency and lower mortality rates. Okay. and in government agencies handle massive amount of data and use ad hoc analysis to help with challenge and decision making on the local, state, and federal levels. Okay, it helps to better allocate funding, boost productivity, and improve resource utilization. Okay. And in the education sector, analyzing data can help streamline process and ensure that programs are properly engaging students and improving success rates. Now, how to evaluate these ad hoc reporting tools? Okay. Reporting customization, multiple data sources, basic and advanced features need to required for assessment of ad hoc reporting tools, data visualization capabilities, and sharing options. Okay. So reporting customization is what? It is designed to simplify data analysis and reports. These tools, and analysis tools allow users to select specific data sets and present that data visually with actionable insights for quicker decision making. Okay. And multiple data sources is the ability to pool data from multiple tools for and systems and improve analysis by providing a rich data set. Basic advanced features are those, while ad hoc reporting solutions are built for the average non-technical user, it is important that analysis tools offer more advanced features for users who want to do deeper granular analysis. Okay. Because non-technical persons cannot do coding for that, so they need advanced features for doing such granular analysis. Okay. At a deeper level. And then data visualization capabilities are that which helps users better understanding large volumes of data and derive meaning of that from that data. So BI tools allows users to customize reports with preferred charts, graphs, columns, etc. Okay. So additionally, options like filters, sliders, okay, and conditional formatting improve reports. Okay. So it ensures business users that they are getting information that is targeted and easy to understand. Okay, the sharing options is the ability to share ad hoc analysis with other stakeholders and business units is vital. Okay, so BI tools, BI often needs to be shared across the organization for better decision making and business improvement. Sharing options also include email capability, URL link, okay, sharing and dashboards that can be embedded on private web pages. Okay. So what are the challenges of this ad hoc reporting? Okay. What are the challenges? Incomplete data, lack of data governance, and data availability. Okay. So incomplete data, suppose having some but not all of your data in one place is a limitation of ad hoc reporting. So if you are using sliced or extracted data, your reports could become stale and prevent you from seeing the full picture. Okay. Stale means they're out of date. Okay. You have to you have to confirm that your data should be up to date and completeness is present and without any ambiguity. Okay. So lack of data governance is this data governance involves the people, process, and technologies required to create consistent and proper handling of an organization's data across the business. Okay. Um, ad hoc reporting may differ from company developed metrics, logic, or available data, which may create insights, okay, that conflict with other reports. Okay. So data availability is everyone needs to be using the same underlying data. If the underlying data varies throughout the same organization, okay, it can produce data chaos, resulting in conflicting answers and delayed decisions. Okay. So data availability is the data, the same underlying data needs to be available throughout the same organization so that everyone can use the same underlying data. Okay, to avoid chaotic situations.
Ma'am, challenges of ad hoc reporting are the disadvantages of ad hoc reporting.
Challenge of ad hoc reporting are not disadvantage. Okay, don't think challenge. Don't consider a challenge as disadvantage. Okay, challenge are what are the hurdles you have to overcome. Okay,
Okay.
that is your challenge. You have to accept challenge. That is not disadvantage in any path. When you want to become engineer or when you want to become data analyst, the challenges are not to be considered as disadvantage or as your weak points. Okay, the challenges are the hard, or you can say the hurdles are those areas, okay, where you have to jump. Okay, suppose
Okay,
you are
ma'am.
moving on a path and you are facing a wall, you have to jump. Okay, and how can you how can you overcome that difficulty, that how can you just remove the obstacle from your path is your intelligence. Okay, so you have to learn the challenge. Okay, and then you have to make decisions on spot, or you need to take time, then keep patience, build some logic in your mind and work hard. So keep patience and do something with sincerity, then you can overcome that obstacle, overcome that hurdle and move on further. It happens in every field. Okay, in personal life or
Yes.
in any other field, whether it is technical field, non-technical field, in any field, everywhere. Understand? Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And disadvantage are what? Suppose that are the that suppose you have done a work. Okay, you have done a work that will result in some wrong consequences. Okay, so that are the disadvantage. Suppose there is a huge flood and that will result in some damage to the food crops and also the harvesting the crops. Okay, so and there's a lot of loss of money and human lives maybe. Road blockage and you need to construct the dam again. Okay, so these are the disadvantages due to having flood. Okay, when such things, such natural calamity happens, so there may be some consequences which may just disrupt the normal flow of our life. Okay, so these are the these things, these consequences which are not acceptable or which are not good for the well-being of our society or of our life, are considered to be disadvantages of an event. Okay, But here I know ad hoc reporting is important. It gives me fruitful result. It gives a fruitful decision making option for the organization and for the stakeholders. So what are the challenges I am facing to uh, to grab these things, okay, to take advantage out of this ad hoc reporting? Okay, I want to take advantage out of these ad hoc reporting tools and analysis, but these challenges come in my way. So how can I work on that? Okay,
Yes, sir.
this is not disadvantage. Okay, just go through this real-time analytics. Okay, what do you understand by real-time analytics? First, try to understand real time. Real time, you have understood, I think, that are the operations are performed milliseconds before it becomes available to the user. Okay, and analytics, you know, a software capability which can pull data from various sources and interpret, analyze, transform it into a format that can be comprehended by humans. Okay, so analytics deals with real time data, is known to be real time analytics. Okay, so I am just telling you, if you have practiced matplotlib, there is a there is a snippet of code which just performs how to live data. Okay, how to create live data and just draw a graph on that, line graph on that. If you do that, then you can understand what is real time data. Okay, so it is very much required. Okay, because without real time analytics, a business may absorb a ton of data that gets lost in the shuffle. Okay, and so you know, is very much important leveraging data for both financial statement procurement as well as understanding the insight about the business and its customers needs. Okay, So the ability to work in real time and respond to a customer's needs or prevent issues before they arise ends up benefiting the bottom line by reducing risk and enhancing accuracy. Okay. So you can say real-time analytics just encompasses the technology and processes that quickly enables users to leverage the data. The second it enters, the millisecond it enters the database. Okay, and just represent it in a format. Okay, transform it. The analytics tool just transform it to a visualization format. Okay, so it includes data measurement, management, and analytics. Obviously. Okay. So this real-time analytics can be used to meet variety of needs like enhancing workflows, okay, boosting the relationship between marketing and sales, okay, and understanding customer behavior and finalizing the financial close procedure and procurement making the procurement statement, working with that, okay, and much more areas. So so how do the real-time analytics work? Okay. Just look, the components of real-time analytics, real-time data analytics include aggregator, broker, analytics engine, stream processor. Okay. And the other technologies that make real-time analytics possible include processing in memory, in database analytics, in-memory analytics, massively parallel programming. Okay. So these are the things where these are the other technologies which can help this real-time analytics. But what are these four components? I am elaborating. Okay. So aggregator is what? That is compiles real-time streaming data analytics from many different data sources. Okay. Aggregator are what? Compiles real-time streaming data analytics from many different data sources. Okay. And broker is what? It makes data in real time available for use. Makes data in real time available for use. Okay. An analytics engine does what? It correlates values and blends data streams together while analyzing the data. What is that? Correlates values and blends data streams together while analyzing the data. Okay. So what is stream processor? It just executes the real-time app analytics. There are some applications. Okay, so it just executes those real-time app analytics and logic by receiving and sending data streams. Okay. They just send and receive the data streams to these apps and just execute these apps, real-time apps. Okay. So that is stream processor. Okay. So real-time data analytics tools can either push or pull data. Okay. So streaming just requires the ability to push massive amounts of fast moving data. When streaming takes too many resources and it is not practical, data can be pulled at intervals that can range from seconds to hours. And the pull can happen in between business needs, which require computing resources. Okay. So as not to disrupt other operations. Okay. So the response time for real-time analytics can be set by the users, and it can vary from nearly instantaneous to a few seconds or minutes. Okay, so some products like a self-driving car needs to respond to new information within milliseconds, but other products like an oil drill or windmill can get by with a minute between updates. So several minutes might be enough for a bank looking at credit scores of loan applicants. Okay. So processing in memory technology, what are the other technologies I've told? Processing in memory and in database. So I'm just telling one thing. Processing in memory is suppose you can say your if your memory you can just reduce the latency, okay, by integrating the processor in a memory chip, okay, and so that is how you can reduce the latency, okay. So I think you all know what is latency. It is the delay between a user's action and the web application's response to that action. Suppose you have entered something or submitted something. So what happened? You can say that you have to wait for the response from the web server. So that is the delay. Okay. So it is also often referred to in networking terms as the total round trip time it takes for a data packet to travel. Okay. So that is latency, which can be reduced if you integrate the processor in a memory chip. That is processing in memory. Okay. And in database analytics is that the data processing happens within the database, and and the analytic logic is also built into that database. Okay. If you make the database analytics logic within the database, then obviously data processing happens first, okay, and in more consistent way, okay. And in memory analytics queries data in random access memory instead of physical disk, because when you are not using secondary storage, instead using instead you are using primary memory, obviously your access to data is much more faster. So that is in memory analytics technology, okay. And massively parallel programming is what, that is MPP, where multiple processors tackle different parts of a program, and each processor has its own operating system and memory, okay. So it will obviously create faster and more processing consistency, okay. So what are the examples and use cases? Marketing campaigns, financial trading, financial operations, credit scoring, healthcare, okay. Suppose in marketing campaigns, for example, if you run an ad campaign and retrieve data in real time of people clicking and converting, then you can adjust your message and parameters to target the audience directly, okay. Clicking and converting means when a customer just wants to purchase your product. So that means you just make your user converting to a customer, okay. That is why the when you are running an ad campaign and retrieve data in real time of people clicking and converting into customer, then you can then you can just draw out some decisions on based on this real-time data regarding your message, regarding the setting of message and parameters to target the audience directly, okay. So then the financial trading, like Financial institutions need to make buy and sell decisions in milliseconds, okay, with the analytics provided in real time. So traders can take advantage of such information from financial database, news sources, social media, weather reports, and more to have a wide angle perspective on the market in real time. This broad picture helps them to make smart trading decisions, okay. And what are the financial operations? Financial teams are experiencing a transformation by which they are not only are responsible for back office procedures, but they also add value to the organization by providing strategic insights. So the production of financial statements must be accurate to help inform the best decisions for the business. Okay, so analytics in real time helps to spot errors and can aid in reducing operational risk. Okay, so the software's ability to match records, that is account reconciliation, okay, and store data securely in a centralized system, and transform raw data into insights, that is real-time analytics, makes all the difference in a team's ability to remain accurate, agile, and ahead of the curve. Okay, you can say. So what is credit scoring in financial? Okay, you can say suppose you need to understand the value of credit score. The in financial provider needs to understand the value of the credit score. With real time analytics, institutions can approve or deny loans immediately. Okay. So, and healthcare wearable devices are an example of real-time analytics which can track a human's health statistics. For example, real-time data provides information like a person's heartbeat, and these immediate updates can be used to save lives and even predict ailments in advance. Okay, so here you may get such kind of data like heartbeats. Okay, so pulse rate. So you have to work on those data in on a real time basis. Okay. So what are the benefits of real time data analytics? So just go through the benefits and challenges. Okay. So the benefits of real-time data analytics are data visualization. Okay. Competitive advantage, precise information testing, monitor customer behavior, lower cost, apply machine learning, drive better decision making. Okay. So using real-time data analytics allow the user the business to thrive and reach optimal productivity. Okay, so you can minimize risk, reduce cost, and understand more about your employees, customers, and understand more about your employees and customers and overall financial health, okay, of the business with this with the aid of this real-time data. So what is data visualization? With historical data you can get a snapshot of information displayed in a chart. Okay, however with real-time data you can use data visualization that reflect change within the business as they occur in real time. Okay, so this means that the dashboards are interactive and accurate at a given moment. Okay, so with custom dashboards, you can also share that data easily with the relevant stakeholders, so that decision making never gets put on hold. Okay. Okay, so competitive advantage are compared to a company that is focused on historical stale data, that is out of date data, your business can gain a competitive advantage by accessing real-time data. Okay, you can easily understand benchmarks and view trends to make the wisest choice to boost your business. Okay, precise information. Since real-time data analytics is focused on creating customers, creating outcomes, so you can say there is no wasted effort. Okay, you can say um, uh, uh, rather you can than spending resource and time and money which are required to collect data, that is unnecessary. Okay, the software is set up to capture only the data you need. Okay. Okay, so you are not pulling out unnecessary, you're not pulling or collecting data that is unnecessary. Okay, your software is ready to capture only the data you need. Okay. So testing is with the ability to test how change will affect your business process in real time. You can take calculated risk as you make change. You can understand if there is any issues or negative effects, and be able to revert and try again without undergoing too much damage. Okay. Just wait. So here look, monitoring customer behavior. So with knowledge and insights about the customer behavior, you can you can dive deep into customers behaviors and be able to monitor what is and what is not working to your business advantage. Okay. So lowering cost, big data used to require extensive mathematical understanding and RD support. So you can leverage all the benefits of real-time data analytics. This means that you can lower the cost of hiring or coding experts to take advantage of business data, reducing the bottlenecks within process, and ensure team members that your team members what to pull insights from the real-time data. Okay, and this is because this is not historical data, also you don't need to hire any skilled professional to work on that data. Okay, to obtain that the graph, or to obtain the to mine and explore data. Okay, for that for historical data you need such coding experts or analysts, but here you don't need such persons. So it obviously reduces cost. And how you can the machine learning improves as more data enters the system rather than requiring a human to update algorithms and spend time on tedious tasks. Okay, here the machine managed to become more efficient as time goes on. Okay, so it will obviously derive better decision making. So one of the biggest benefits of real-time data analytics is the ability to move forward on both small and big decisions in a timely and productive manner. Okay, so it will obviously update new and introduce new business ideas and process to your organization with little risk, as the analytics provides all the necessary information to make sound business decisions. Okay, so what are the challenges of real-time analytics? First is definition, second is system architecture, and third is implementation. I'm elaborating in detail. So here, just look at one, try to understand what is definition, which comes as a challenge for real-time analytics. So in any business, if there is an upside, there is also likely to be a downside. Okay, so you can say so when you try to implement real-time analytics in your organization, you may face some difficulties like definition. So that is real-time data analytics obviously require that everyone within your team and stakeholder of the business agree on what real time means. Okay, so you can integrate a solution that meets expectations in terms of timing. I have already cited a few examples now. That is when a bank wants to give some person loan and looking at the credit score for on real time basis, they may take few minutes. Okay, for a windmill company, the productivity needs to be checked on a per minute minute basis, but for in some scenarios it may be checked on a millisecond basis. Okay, so so here if you just I just want to let you know something, just right. Yes, that is suppose you just what I have cited a little bit earlier, that is a self-driving car that needs to respond to new information within milliseconds. Okay, so but the product like windmill can get can get updates by an interval of per minute. Okay, by interval of 1 minute or 2 minutes. Okay, and a bank can look at the credit scores for loan applicants with the on real time analytics, but they take several minutes. So these are the areas where you just know the timing is different, and that needs to be agreed on between the users or customers and the stakeholders of your organization. So so this is how you have to define. Okay, you have to agree on what real time means in terms of timing, and then come this system architecture. Okay, so after defining the meaning of the real time, you must be sure to select a tool that can process data at high speeds. Okay, the tool should be able, or should also be able to grow and scale. Okay, that is scaling, and that is it will not it can handle large amount of data, and it will not just go it will not just not stop working. That is it will have to be made in such a way that the more data it will enter, the more it will be able to handle. Okay, so this is important. And then this implementation part is implementing a real-time analytics tool may require technical know-how or an IT team to make sure that the system works well with the existing tools. It can also be used as an out-of-the-box, no code required automation solution. Okay, okay, so this is very much important. So tries to use such tool which can be used by non-technical person as well. Okay, so what is event? Now we come to event driven architecture. So before letting you know what is event driven architecture and how it works, just go through this. That is what is an event. Okay, I'm giving you 2 minutes, just go through. So an event is just defined as a change of state of some key business system. Okay. And in an event driven architecture, um, an event will likely trigger one or more actions or process in response to its occurrence. Okay. You know, trigger in SQL, I have told you already. So this is something that is some operation has happened. Okay. Then some insert, update, or delete may happen in on a database. Okay. So this is similar to that kind of things. Okay. That is, it will also, when one such event happens, it will obviously fire some other actions or process. Okay. This is that is event driven architecture. Okay. And what is the event? That is change of state. Okay. Suppose you are pushing the door, so your door gets locked. Okay. Or when you're pulling the door, your door gets opened. So there is a change of state. So that is event. Okay. I am just citing few examples on this event, that is requesting to reset a password. Okay, a packet arrived, was delivered to its destination. Okay. And grocery warehouse updates its inventory, and unauthorized access attempt was denied. These are the examples of events. Okay. So when each of these events is likely to trigger one or more actions or responses. So one response might be simply to log the event. Okay, for monitoring purpose. Okay. And others might be like an email is sent to the customer for resetting the password. When someone requests for resetting a password, so obviously an email is sent to the customer or user. The then sales ticket is closed if your package was delivered. An order for more material which are running flow is placed if the grocery inventory, when the grocery warehouse updates in the inventory, then maybe an order for a particular material or running low is placed, or it can be notified. Okay. An account, when an unauthorized access attempt was denied, okay, then the account is locked and security personnel are notified. Okay. So these are the things. So with event-driven architecture, you can say when the event notification is sent, the system, that is response is sent, the system captures that something happens, like a change in state has occurred, and waits to send the reply to whoever requests it. Okay. Okay, so whenever they request it, they just send a reply that request to them. The application that received the message can either respond or wait to respond until the change in state has occurred, that it is waiting for. Okay. So these applications need to be more agile, scalable, contextual, and responsive. Okay, and obviously digital business applications. So through these applications, the event can be notified and response can be retrieved, that is received in the form of message, or wait to respond until that change has occurred, or that change is waiting for to occur. Okay. So the evolution, you can say, how this event driven architecture comes. Okay, so you can say we want to over the first few years there has been a movement from focusing on data at rest. Okay, so that is service oriented architecture to focusing on event driven architecture. Okay, so we are moving from accumulating data and data lakes to focus on data in flight and keeping track of it. Okay, while it is moving from place to place. Okay, um, so here what happened, most traditionally most systems operate in and what you could think of as the data centric model, where the data is the source of truth. Okay, so the shift to service oriented to event driven architecture means moving from a data centric model to an event centric model. And in this event driven model, data is still important, but the events become the most important component. Okay, whereas in the service oriented model, the highest priority was to make sure you don't lose any data. With event driven architecture, the priority is to make sure you respond to events as they happen. Okay, because there is a law of diminishing returns when it comes to events. The older they get, the less valuable they are. However, today service oriented architecture and event driven architecture are often used together. Okay. So you can say event driven architecture, if you want to figure out what happened in the past, you can go back and replay the log. Whereas in the data centric model that is used by service oriented architecture, you will focus mainly on the state of the data. Okay, as it is right now. But here in case of this event centric architecture, you are just focusing on the information repository and a nervous system that carries messages around the enterprise for due to the occurrence of different type of events. Okay. So when you are using an event-driven architecture, you have event producers and generate and event notifications, and you may have one or more consumers of an event. Okay, where the receiving of the event triggers processing logic. For example, so for example, you can say Netflix has just uploaded a new movie. There could be several applications listening or waiting for that notification, which then trigger their own internal system to publish their own information about, you can say, about that event to their users. Okay, so this differs from the traditional request reply messaging in that applications are still running, and even though they may be listening for this event. Okay, so they are not paralyzed while waiting for it, and they are able to respond when the message is published. Okay, there's many services can be running in parallel. Okay. So I just want you all to understand what are the components of an event-driven architecture. Include three parts: producer, consumer, broker. So the broker can be optional, okay? Particularly when you have a single producer and a single consumer that are in direct communication with each other. And the producer just sends the events to the customer. An example would be a producer, like you can say a producer that is sending only to a database or data warehouse. So the event are collected and stored for analysis. Most commonly in enterprises, you have multiple sources sending out all type of events with one or more consumers interested in some or all of those events. Okay. Suppose you are a retailer, you might be collecting all of the purchases that are happening at all of your stores all over the world. Okay, and you are feeding them into your event-driven architecture. That is watching for fraud, sending them to a credit card processor or whatever actions need to happen next. For a manufacturer, you have all kinds of data coming off your equipment that is telling your facts like temperature and pressure, so you can monitor these events in real time and take actions like predict failures and schedule maintenance, okay, depending on what the data is telling you. So based on so every time when some event happens, some sort of notification or message is received in the system, and that is the main difference between service driven architecture and event driven architecture. So when event driven data analytics works in event using event driven when event driven data analytics is used in real time, in the or you can say using the event driven architecture, so it is actually the differing in the sense that from the simple reply request form or service oriented architecture, it is different because it does not it does not deals with the data part, it deals also with the event part. Okay, what are the events happen that is need to be logged. Okay, that needs to be logged, and at the same time it does not mean that you have to in the service request you don't need to create every time any notifications, okay, and receive date at different levels. But here at different levels notifications or messages are received, and that needs to be tracked. Okay, and the third point is that that is when you want those messages notified, then some other events may happen, so you can learn which event can result in other events to take place. Okay, so an occurrence the occurrence of a particular event can result in occurrence of one or more events, so you can learn these things. But in service request based architecture, where you are dealing with historical data or real time data, you don't know about this occurrence of events and the cause of event and the consequence of that event, you don't know. But so that is why this event driven data architecture becomes so much popular, and in recent days event driven data analytics is becomes much popular, and it is much fruitful and used in at a large scale. Okay. That is in this event driven data architecture, you just learn which event triggers which event or a set of events. Okay, that is very much important, okay, for analyzing purpose. So here, the meaningful analysis can be done in through event-driven data analytics by responding to events that are for real-time decision making. Okay, responding to events that are for real-time decision making. So an event is data. An event is data moving in streams that are critical for responding faster to customer needs and reduce time to solve problems. Okay. So an event can be a customer selecting product or service to pay a higher than average customer negative sentiment. That business wants to address first, a misinformation that business intends to detect before it impacts its stock value. Or just write down the responding to a customer click. Okay, so these are the things. I'm citing another example, like mobile game companies monitor and adjust the difficulty of the game players played. Okay. They promote upgrades to entice players to continue pay to play and not too difficult to make players give up the game. Okay. So there are different levels of difficulty when you are playing the game. So these are based on the events and the response they are getting. Okay, on different events so different streams of data need to be collected, and they will be given different types of options, and then based on the response on different events they will try to adjust the difficulty level so that they will not leave up the game. And then these mobile game company can entice players to continue pay to play. Okay. So it is not so in event driven data analytics, getting event response is not always having data. It is obviously sorted, filtered, and that is sliced portion of data that is filtered and identifying only the required ones data in real time. That is the response. Okay, that needs to be gathered. Okay. Okay, so you can say here you can just like any industry like manufacturing can monitor temperature, pressure, and utilization and vibration metrics across thousands of their equipment to look for patterns or potential equipment failure. Okay. And if the operator has a real-time event processing engine to filter the critical sensor data based on temperature, pressure, vibration, you can just filter the critical sensor data and predict asset failure. Then it is far enough to prevent the failure, and the business will reduce the unplanned operational cost, stay within budget, and meet the demands of the customer. Okay. So just look at this part. So what are the benefits of operational analytics? So this is what the last thing we do. So what is operational analytics? Just go through, and what are the benefits and use cases of operational analytics? I will explain. Just go through. Okay. So operation analytics is what? That refers to the category of business analytics that focuses on measuring the existing and real-time operations of the business. Okay. And the main characteristics that distinguishing operation analytics from other types of analytics is that it is analytics on the fly. Okay. So actually real-time operations are taken into consideration, but here just keep on this keep on this term, that is you have to measure the existing process on real-time basis. Okay. Measure the existing process of the business or organization on real-time basis. Okay. So it is mainly concerned with the operations involved or the processes involved in a business. Okay. Suppose marketing and sales data also have real-time data, but that is not some sort of process, operational process. Okay. That is some sort of marketing sales related to sales and profit or generating revenue type of things. But operational, like when you do some sort of process for the manufacturing or some IT related task on your organization, those are the operations in or process involved for building product or model, or for building the model for your project. Okay. For growing your business. Okay.
Ma'am, here what is the meaning of analytics on the fly?
Analytics on the fly means here you have to work on the current, okay, on the current current process and current data. Okay. On the current means existing process and real-time data. Okay. That is why it is also called as analytics on the fly. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So okay, just wait 1 minute. Guys, I have to receive a call. Just wait, huh? Okay, so on operational analytics is very specific term. Okay, for a type of analytics which focus on improving existing operations. Okay, so this type of analytics involves the use of various data mining and data aggregation tools to get more transparent information. Okay, for business planning. Okay, and the main characteristics that distinguish operation analytics from other types is analytics on the fly, which means this obviously signals emanating from various parts of a business are processed. Okay, and real time to feedback into instant decision making. Okay, so for the business. Okay, so some people refer to this as continuous analytics, okay, which is another way to emphasize the continuous digital feedback loop that can exist from one part of the business to others. Okay, so that is the main things when you deal with this existing process. So each process of your business just generates some sort of message or signals, you can better say, so on real time basis. So these are the feedback which are fed to the system, or which can help the operational analytics tool to make instant decision for the business. Okay, so you can say here your operation analytics allow different to you to take decisions like what action to take, whom to talk to, what immediate plans to make. Okay, uh, so this form of analytics has earned a lot of popularity with the organization recent days, and almost all industries all industry verticals, because it is digitization that furnishes the data needed for operational decision making. Okay, so just look at this: benefits expedites decision making, improved customer experiences, and increased productivity. I'm just explaining in detail. So obviously business that analyze and react to customer data in real time can make faster decisions. Okay, in the traditional way of working, business would be aware of any glaring issues in their operations only based on a quarterly or annual data, and by the time they make the change reactively to their operations, there is always a chance that they might not be able to attend the issues on time. Okay, and on the other hand, businesses that embrace operational analytics can make the necessary adjustments to process and workflows in real time or close to it, and are therefore better equipped to increase profitability and reduce waste. Okay, these would also help them to detect and respond to problems and inefficiencies quickly. Okay. So how can it improve customer experience? So business that employ operational analytics can provide improved customer experience as they can react to business situations in real time. Okay, for example, an air travel portal which uses operational analytics finds that users are mostly using separate transactions to book onward and return journeys. Okay, despite being offered a discount to book both the journeys in a single transaction. Understand? That is, they are given discount to book both the journeys on a single transaction, but they want to do separate transactions for to book onward and return journeys. So the company which owns the portal, with the help of operational analytics data, finds that there is a bug in the software. Okay, when the user selects both the journeys as part of the single transaction, causing the discount not to be offered. Okay, so that is not uh, displayed on the screen. So this is a bug of the software. So that is why the customers are doing separate transactions, although the discount is offered. So the bug of the software is resolved quickly. So this is the process error. Okay, that is operational process. Okay, so that is the bug is resolved quickly, and the portal does not lose customers, and who could have possibly have a different travel portal to book their tickets. So they will not switch to some different travel portal. Okay, they can retain their customers, and they can book onward and return journeys together. Okay, so how can it increase productivity? Just look. Operational analytics and operational analytics help business streamline their operations by enabling them to see inefficiencies in their process and make the necessary changes. Okay, so for example, I can say a business based on the operational analytics data it has generated realized that the process of approving an invoice for payment is tedious and requires too many approvals. Okay, so um, while which will impact how can I resolve this issue? So the business just tries to rethink differently with an optimum number of approvals and streamline the process, which eventually will reduce the turnaround time for the process. Okay, so that is how you can increase the productivity, by reducing the turnaround time. Okay. So what are the common areas where you can find operational analytics in business world? For one is your banks use operational analytics to provide suitable products. Operational analytics is used for preventive maintenance in manufacturing. Okay, operational analytics in supply chain management. Operation analytics in marketing, operation analytics in helping helping the product manager to make a product to make the product better. Okay, for the betterment of product. Okay, so I will just explain these things. Okay, so I will give you 5 minutes again, so to rethink. Okay, whatever I have covered today. If you have any queries, just let me know. So I'm giving you 5 minutes. After that, I will explaining these parts. Okay. So try to think, try to understand and rethink. Okay, what I have covered today. So look, banks use operational analytics to provide suitable products. Okay. So what are these suitable products? Okay. Banks leverage operational analytics to categorize customers uh, based on their usage, credit risk, and other parameters like what is the portfolio they're uh, following. Okay, different parameters of the customers. Okay, their income. Okay, annual income, their profession. Okay, and so this data is then used to provide suitable products to the customer based on the category. Okay, and that is different types of loans or investment or portfolio okay, can be offered to them. So operational analytics is used for preventive maintenance in manufacturing. For how manufacturing companies use operational analytics to activate preventive maintenance of machines, machine parts, etc. So it can identify potential problems before they occur. Okay, like I have told you, they can use the metrics like vibration, temperature, utilization, pressure. So from the sensor. So when they receive such data from the sensor, and then they can improve the operations. Okay, they can catch the inefficiencies for which they can the failure the equipments can fail. So how they can thus avoid failure of equipments. Okay, by measuring and taking actions against inefficient operations. Okay, so with this data the manufacturer can be alerted that service is required. Okay, for repairing of a certain equipment. Okay, so how operational analytics work in supply chain management. Okay, for business which are not digitally integrated. Okay, if the supplier is not be able to deliver the goods agreed on a particular day, would entail administrative efforts from all involved, including supplier. Okay, understood. So if the supplier is not if the supplier is not able to deliver the goods agreed on a particular day, would entail administrative efforts from all involved, including supplier, planner, stuff in charge of goods. Okay, and the receipt, ERP system, everything. So the reason for this additional manual work is the lack of proper analysis of the consumption, stock, and supply situation. Okay, so implementation of operational analytics in supply chain provides employees with well structured dashboards containing critical information which they can analyze and quickly agree with the supplier on a supplemental delivery. Okay, here you have to be conscious about your order level and safety level or stock level of stock for the safety stock. Okay, operation analytics in marketing means a marketing manager or any other person well versed in using data systems can run multiple experiments. Okay, so greater, so you can just say that you can just experiment on the form of data, try to nurture this data. Okay, using software systems. So the more experience they can these managers, these marketing managers can run, this marketing analyst can run, and so they can arrive at the quicker decision to reduce the turnaround time and better effectiveness in marketing their product. Okay, So how can operational analytics help in producing, help product manager make a product better? A product manager looks at a product usage logs provided by operational analytics, okay, to determine which features of the product are liked by its users, which features slow them down, okay, and which features are disliked by its users. So, okay, so some features are liked by some users, some features are disliked by its users. So the product manager can then find the necessary answers by querying data that records, you can say, that just records the usage pattern, okay. So usage pattern means how they are liked by users, and suppose on any sale of a product, like any apparel sale or any accessory sale, you may be given rating scale. You have to give rating out of 10. Some people say like strongly, some people say not like that much, 5, 6, 7, this kind of rating are given. So these are the patterns you can generate, you can quantify them, okay. And so from these usage patterns need to be recorded from the product's user base and feed this information back, okay, to make the product better, okay. Understood? Suppose a question is set now with different kind of questions, and different types of rating need to be given from the respondents. So thus you can improve those featured questions and queries. Those featured, based on those featured queries, you can improve the product, okay. So done. So I don't want to continue today further. So Sandeep, Sandeep,
Yeah, yes, yes.
you can stop recording. Okay.
Okay.